Yo, what's up everyone? It's your boy ShowtimeDr. I've gotten some people asking me to do in-depth hero guides, and I was kind of on the fence. I was supposed to do a collaboration, but it's been a while and nothing's happened. And there's a bit of a void now because a couple other streamers that were doing this game, then they've moved on to other games that are doing better for them. And well wishes to them, but I'm still here. I'm still doing content on this game, so I guess I gotta pick up the slack a little bit. So, this is going to be your Sid in-depth guide. Different ways to build Sid. I'll show you how I do it. I highly welcome people in the comments. Go ahead and suggest your own builds for Sid, etc. But we're gonna go ahead, get into it here. So, when you get the Sid, by the way, good luck to everyone today on their Sid farming. The solo advent just came out, so... first we'll look at the skills. So, on his 1, it's your basic, hit, heal that most of the supports in the game have, but 100% chance to remove one of the target's debuffs. Debuffs, in this case, can include dots and, the typical stuff that even someone like a Rue doesn't cleanse normally. So, that can be really good. Skilling it up, the damage goes up. Sid's not really there for his damage. The percentage heal goes up, that's nice. But, it doesn't do anything like remove 2 debuffs or anything like that, so... Honestly, on the 1, I say save that one for last, unless you got a very specific thing you're doing. Now on his 2, Blessed Feather, decrease an ally and 2 adjacent allies, so basically 3. Skill cooldowns by 1 turn, that can be super powerful, and restore the target's HP by 20. When you skill it up, it's not more additional skill cooldown, it's just more HP healing, which obviously not a bad thing, but it's 2% per till you get to the last one. Then it gets 40. Still, it's a pretty solid upgrade, definitely. I would say do that second, personally. This one right here, this is Sid's Revive. Revive an ally, restore 40% of their HP, decrease the target's skill cooldowns by 1. Not quite as strong as Ruse, but still pretty strong. But as you level it up, not only does the healing go up, but eventually revive 2 allies, decrease target skill cooldowns by 2 turns. So both of those jump from 1 to 2 at level 6. So I highly recommend that just because, A, it's 2 allies you're getting up, you're restoring a good chunk of their health. And then you're decreasing the target skill cooldowns by 2. That's pretty strong. So that's recommended for me if you're going to do the skill ups for Sid. Do your 3 first, and then get to your 2. And then you got some extras, go ahead and do your 1. Now, important things to understand about Sid, because Sid's a little bit hard to understand. Clearly the leadership, wind and water allies HP recovery amounts by 20. Sid could be really good if you're running a wind team or a water team. Now, Fluttering Feathers, keep this in mind, 50% chance to acquire 1 Fluttering Feather when using a skill. So, every other time you use a skill, percentages, you're going to get one of these Fluttering Feathers. 30% chance, completely, not connected to that at all, to grant damage immunity to the ally with the lowest HP, excluding the caster, at the start of the turn for a turn. So, every time Sid takes a turn, maybe you'll get a damage immunity up. Damage immunity stops most non-penetration damage in the game. And then we got consumes all Fluttering Feathers to grant a shield equal to 30% of HP to all allies for 2 turns if there are 3 or more Fluttering Feathers. Now I'm a bit confused by this, as we know this game kind of has a history of bad tooltips and things that seem like they're one thing when they're actually another, and it was just either mistranslated or lost in translation somehow. What I'm not sure about this, because this is a really powerful skill, what I'm not sure about this is shield equal to 30% of HP. Sid's HP or the ally's HP? Not sure, and it's pretty hard to figure out because I don't have that bar anymore where you could read like so-and-so took blah 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 AoE damage. And everyone mitigates damage differently depending on their armor and some of their passives. So it's really hard. Most people seem to concur that it is allies HP, which would make it pretty powerful, but personally, I don't know either way, but either way, whichever one it is, it's still a good skill regardless, so hopefully there'll be some clarification on that. If you happen to know in the comments, like for sure no, don't just say, well, I think, for sure no, please, if you do know. put in the comments, I'll highlight the comment, and we can go from there, so. And then once you get a 60, obtains 3 fluttering feathers at the start of the wave. So once again, if you have 3 feathers, you're going to go ahead and consume them all and grant a shield equal to 30% HP to all allies for 2 turns. So pretty much at the beginning of every wave, because it says wave here, you're going to have a big fat shield at the beginning to soak up damage. It's really nice. Revive with 10% HP upon death, so he's got a self-revive. Grants damage immunity to all allies for 1 turn and increases allies' critical strike chance by 30 and attack by 30 for 1 turn when an ally's HP drops below 30 once per battle. So pretty much, whenever you get in trouble, whenever someone gets kind of low, you're going to go ahead and put out pretty good group damage buff here. So that's pretty gnarly. So, that's it for Sid's skills, really. I mean, once you understand it, once you use it, you'll get it. As far as focuses go, I'll show you what I do with my Sid. So in this case, I just got Sid to 60 today, by the way, so everything's going to be low. Only 2 purple stars right now. I'll work it up more. I'm actually planning on running Sid in the Sid advent dungeon later today. But here's what I do with my Sid. So attack, you know, just comes with your primary runes. Attack speed, you can argue attack speed. PvP Sid, definitely need some attack speed just to get that shield up earlier. PvE Sid, it's basically turn order, so having the shield, usually you're not going to get wiped on turn 1, so having the shield late in the turn 1, generally not a big deal. Sometimes it is. Crit, you know, nothing crazy about crit here. Accuracy, sometimes you just get it, you can't do much about it. Now, multi-strike, you'll see that I pumped a fair amount into multi-strike. The reason that I did that was because if you look at Sid's 100% chance to remove one of the target's debuffs every time he hits somebody with it. So, my thinking is not only do I want the heal as much as possible, I want that remove debuff as much as possible. So that's what I'm doing with mine, and you might say, well, why don't you get some counterattack too? You know what? Normally I would, but as anyone who's watched my Sid Advent video knows, counterattack in Sid Advent is deadly. So maybe in other dungeons, once I'm done farming the Sid dungeon, I'll pump the counterattack a little bit just to have that extra debuff removal / healing. But for now, no counter for me, unfortunately. Defense, I pumped up a little bit. I could pump up a bit more, but it'll just have to come with higher level runes. I'm gonna run the rune dungeon really hard later. HP, try to get your Sid with as much HP as possible because there is a chance that this shield is based on his HP. So 30% of 11.5, that's pretty much, let's see, right around 3450 damage absorbed shield if it is based on Sid's health and not the ally's health. So pretty fat, you know. If you're running 4-star advents, that's pretty much 1 or 2 hits for most things. But still, it's there, and any mitigation is good mitigation. And another reason, too, that I have multi, I want to get as many of these fluttering feather charges as possible so I could get more shields out over the course of a battle, so. And then I got some HP recovery. HP recovery is very underrated on supports. My Rue also has about like 11% or so. It's good for about almost 2,000 health on my Rue. Rue has a slightly higher health than Sid, but as you get Sid's health higher, your HP recovery is going to hit harder. In this case, it's going to hit for about maybe 1,600. But still, that's 1,600 more health, as long as there isn't a anti-healing debuff or a poison on you. That's going to tick fairly hard, help keep you up. I'd get more evasion if I could, but I need evasion on some of my other characters, so. And then also a quick note about runes. So I went with, normally I go with defense, but in this case, since I don't know if that HP increase is, let's go ahead and go to the rune page. Based on his health, I went ahead and pumped his health a little bit more, and also it's an early 60 character, so it's going to need some health in general. But one thing I wanted to go over with you guys with runes. So, like, let's say, oh, it's kind of hard to do it now. Now that everything's +6, let me look for another character. Yeah. Well, okay, let's just go over it. So let's say you have another rune that's exactly the same, right? So you have additional HP recovery. Maybe it's a bit more of a percentage once you add it up. And then let's pretend like it's not +6. So let's say it starts off with a base of 481. Well, in that case, what I recommend people do, at least for their support characters, on every stat except for these first two, because your primary stat on that is attack, your primary over here is defense, your primary here is HP. Look for the one with the highest primary, guys, on your runes for similar sets, because if you can start off with, say, on health, sometimes I'll get runes that's like +17 at, you know, +0. When you upgrade it, you see how the upgrade, it always has a chance to give you 22 to 33. Well, if you're starting with a +17 from the same type of rune and you got comparable substats, because I know most people pay attention to substats, consider keeping that rune just for the primary stat being higher, because even if you have, like, let's say 1.9, 1.8, 1.8 again, well, because the other one has 17 more HP, arguably that one's going to tick harder, even though you have higher coefficients, because, I mean, the math, you know, it's not final. But basically, having additional health while healing for pretty much the same, if you see what I'm getting at. Watch your substats. It's not always going to add up like that, you know, multi-strike or crit or whatever. But in this case, if you got something with life on it and something that affects life, same thing with your damage runes, you got attack percentage, but your attack on one might be 7, 8, 9, 10 higher. You know, pay attention to that. Don't just let that slip by the wayside just because. And another thing with runes, you'll see this rune right here. All three of these are stats that I want on Sid. I want HP recovery, I want multi-strike, I want HP increase. But I notice most people, they like to do, see if I can find one here, like this one. You know, it's just triple of whatever you want. And granted, sometimes, you know, it's not a bad thing. Granted, sometimes maybe you value HP recovery over multi-strike or HP increase for whatever reason. Then that's fine, you know, but if you get one of every stat that's good on the character, don't neglect that rune just because it is, you know, it's not triple, you know, attack on an attack rune or triple crit chance or whatever you're going for, so... You know, just things to worry about, because then that way you can leave some of those runes and you can put these other runes on your other characters, and even though it's not triple, it's still gimping, or not gimping, amping all the stats that you need on that character. So just be a little less choosy with your runes, in my opinion. Some people. So, but anyways, that's pretty much how I gear Sid. As you can see, most of my runes, unfortunately, I don't got anything better right now than that accuracy. I'll change that at some point once I get a better rune, but I'm going for multi-HP and HP recovery for the most part. Anything else that slips on, it's just because I couldn't get rid of it, like attack in this case. So your results may vary though. Ideally, I would like to do, depending on what that HP thing is, either triple defense, because defense you can't get on substats, or possibly mostly HP like I'm doing now. So we'll go ahead and get out of runes there. But that's my recommendations. Your results may vary depending on what you're doing. Maybe you're in PvP, you want more attack speed. Maybe you're in, you know, you value some other part of the game, so you want a certain stat, or you're in some other dungeon, so you need a certain stat. Now, like I said, I'm valuing multi over everything else. Now, I think most people, there's counter on this, and there's also this Blooming Life Force, 100% chance to grant 20% healing over time when using skill 3, which is your res. That could potentially be very powerful once it gets up to double res, but the reason I'm not choosing it even right off is because if you read Sid's skill on his res is already getting 40%. And assuming that you guys are going to have Sid on farm, you're going to be skilling this up at a pretty regular basis. So eventually it's going to get to 70%. Well, if you're reviving somebody for 70%, then in general, you don't really need an extra 20%, my opinion. And I know there's going to be people out there that'll say, well, as much healing as you can possibly get. No, I get that, but that multi, though, for that debuff removal, I think that's going to be a little stronger in-game, personally. maybe counter in some dungeons at some point. And keep in mind too, guys, this is your level 50 stat, so you don't have to worry about rainbows. You can re-roll it over and over as long as you got the mats and the money to do it. Now on the 52, you could put Brand up. Personally, I just want Sid to survive, so I gave him defense. At some point, I'll get the 15% defense, but I rolled this like 10 times yesterday, and you know how net marble. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So it's just like, alright, I'll just stick with 2 for now. At some point. This is pretty much the standard skill on most supports here. Weaken, you decrease target's defense. You're going to be using the 1 very often. Your 1's never on cooldown. Dealing additional damage to bosses or arena. Hey, if you got a DPS Sid, more power to you. Whatever you got going on. On this one, I would really like to get this one to 3. Basically, it is a percentage shield that procs when attacked. Sid already the king of shields, so if you can get a quick self shield when you're attacked, help keep them up. That's really cool. The rest of these, it's elemental damage and attack, so once again, I don't use my Sid for attack. Now on your 58, 58 is an interesting one. Everyone does it differently, and it all depends on what you think. Personally, I went with the decreased damage taken from bosses, because I run PvE. Clearly, if you're doing arena, you probably want that one. But in this case, self-sacrifice, a lot of people do self-sacrifice. Basically, it's a chance on hit to restore HP for all allies. Not a bad talent. Personally, I would rather have Sid alive than have a chance to do a little bit of healing. But depending on what you're running, maybe that's not an issue for you. So if your Sid's buff enough, maybe you don't need this, so you can go ahead and put this up. But then again, you really don't want your Sid targeted as much as possible, so it's gonna happen no matter what we do, but personally, one of the other reasons I'm also not running it is because I am going into the Sid Advent dungeon, so there's poison and anti-healing up, so even if this procs, it's not gonna do anything for anybody, so I went ahead and went with decreased damage from bosses, and then Fluttering Feathers, we already talked about on the 60. So, solid talent here. Now, another thing that people kind of have issues with, you really need to pay attention. I'll start to look at other heroes here. We'll get back to Sid in a second, but purple stars mean different things to different characters. So you see on your boy Tayo here, if I go all the way back to his first star gives him 10 defense, 10 accuracy, max HP on the second one, and then 10% increased damage to defense types. But when you go to someone like Sid, and all of the different classes are categorized: attack, defense, hybrid, and support. Sid is a support, so Sid for his first purple star, instead of what you saw earlier, gets more HP. Oh my bad, that's his third purple star. Okay, let's go back. Gonna get attack and attack speed. Attack, but attack speed's good. Helps you get that initiative off quicker. And then some defense. Defense is always very welcome on pretty much every hero. 10% damage for skill 1, you know, could be nice. Never say no to additional damage unless maybe damage shield. Third purple star, when I finally get it, gonna go ahead and increase max HP. 5% chance to gain abnormal status immunity. Abnormal status immunity is basically stuff like stun, sleep, mental seal, that type of thing. It's going to help you resist that a little bit. So 5% chance, it's not that great, but it's still something working against you, or working for you, rather. Fourth purple star, 20% defense, 10% increased recovery amount, that's really nice. 20% HP on the 5th and 6th stars are always the best, another 5% abnormal status immunity. And then, you know, some multi-strike. As you see here, they put multi-strike on the 6th star, so... And attack is whatever, but... So definitely all the purple stars are worth it. It's just a matter of farming up enough to do what you need to do. And then maxing the heroes based on whatever's going on. So what we're going to do now... I've already gone over most of the, you know, the talents I think you should upgrade, the skills... we went over the character, so I'm gonna take Sid out here, just a little bit. Take Sid out. And this is just going to be like a demonstration, guys, just so we can actually go on and see what Sid does. It's not necessarily a look at how elite I am or whatever. So it's not going to be a long dungeon. I'll probably do Xenon or Cha-Cha or something. Cha-Cha actually sounds good. I do Cha-Cha? Nah, let's do Xenon. Let's give ourselves a bit of a challenge. Plus it's half off, so... Alright, so Xenon, the party I'm gonna want is... Kick him out. And we'll see about her. Sid can stand at the 2. Actually, not the 2. We'll make... Just putting my party together here, guys. Give me a second. Alright, yeah, we'll put her at the 2. Rue can be at the 3. Sid will be at the 4. I'll borrow a friend's Tayo, and then we will get rocking here in just a second. Go ahead and take my boy Hashi's Tayo. Alright, so we'll get a little demonstration here of what Sid's all about. There are lots of debuffs in here, so that should hopefully show what's going on. I'm not going to get into the mobs or anything, but I'll get into whatever's going on with our party. So you can see the fluttering feathers right there ready to go on Sid. Once you get his 60. The instant he takes his turn, he's going to be ready to rock with that shield for the party. So right here, you know, just standard stuff. Now Sid's gonna take his turn after this next mob. You'll see here. Boom, big fat shield for everybody. It's an effect, nullifies some damage, penetration damage cannot be nullified. Sometimes there's a bug where it does absorb penetration damage, which is weird on some of the shields. Not just Sid's shield, but your results may vary. Now, do we have a debuff? I don't see a debuff up, so I can't really demonstrate, but we'll go ahead. You know, check out the heal there. Not that bad. Percentage based, you know how it goes. Probably at some point in this dungeon, someone's gonna drop. So we'll get a chance to mess with the shield. There's Sid taking a bit of damage there. And we're moving on to the Chimera, baby. Man, dude, this guy used to wreck me so hard before I had Tayo. Good memories. Been good memories. Alright, so right here, you see how blind's on Sid. We're gonna check and see. Even though normally I like to get through this ASAP. Oh, it's also on Tayo here. Oh, Rue ruined it. She cleansed it before we could try. And, well... Hoshi cleaned up here, or Hashi. There's your boy Xenon. You will be mine soon, sir. Alright, so... There's a poison here, there's a poison there. Let's go ahead and see if it cleanses poison. Bam. Rue cannot cleanse poison, by the way. In fact, we will see it later here. I mean, okay, I should take that back. She can cleanse it with her 2, but I'm talking about her basic attack. On her basic attack, she can't cleanse it. So, hold on. Go ahead. This guy's gonna ult pretty soon. Alright, so you see normally... I'll go say I do this. Poison's still on. Anti-healing debuff is still on. So in that situation, Sid is superior because Sid can actually get rid of every debuff in the game. I do not know if everything is classified as debuff that can go on your character, but if it is, Sid can get rid of it. So right now we're gonna go ahead and get our res up. 40% HP res on your turn 1. And, you know, he's got 2 fluttering feathers. If the fight went much longer, there would be another probably big shield going out for everybody. But you see how long that shield lasted though on some of the characters. Like, that might have been Rue's personal shield, because she does get a personal shield sometimes, the way I have her talented. But Hashi's Taio, that shield was up that entire time. Hashi's Taio apparently did not get touched that much, or at least not to the point where shield wore away. So that could indicate, because Hashi's Taio is a 6-star, and has probably more health than me. Unfortunately, I can't look right now. Actually, you know what? Let me go back. I can look through the friends list. And I'm talking about more health than my Taio. Now, granted, my Taio was like alted and stuff, so it's not really a fair comparison. But Hashi's Taio probably had the most... Go look right now. Probably had the most HP out of anyone in the party, since I wasn't running a tank. And hell, maybe even if I was running a tank, so... Go ahead and find him here. Give me a second. There it is. Alright, so... 15,000. So 15,000, let's say we put up that 30% shield. 15,000 is going to go ahead and net you, assuming you don't have, you know, like leadership, bonus HP abilities. 15,000, 30% of that is going to net you a 4,500 damage shield. Now, duration on that? Because we probably had another Fluttering Feathers go off when I wasn't paying attention, because it's at the start of the wave, you know? But duration on it, I believe, is 2 turns. Go ahead and clear that up and then wrap up this video here for you guys. Alright, so let's check it out. Zooms all shields, 2 turns, yeah, so overall, guys, if you don't have Sid, you got, I believe, 2 weeks. That's normally the cycle for all these dungeons that are out. Get yourself a Sid. If you don't know how to get Sid, I've made 2 videos. One detail on how to do the Sid Advent, the other one detail on which characters are good. So if you got any of those characters, it is a overall win dungeon, but there is a snake boss. And 2 things I didn't know at the time that I made the video on which characters are good. Ramuh is unfortunately a negative unit on the bonus, so you can't really take Ramuh unless you have a crazy strong team. And the other thing, the snake that is on pack 2 in that dungeon is dark, absorbs dark damage. So effectively all the dark heroes that I recommended, at least for DPS, are null and void, because you really need all the damage you can to kill that snake, so that's unfortunate. But otherwise, guys, this has been your Sid character in-depth guide here. If I missed anything, if you guys want to know, because this is my first time making a video like this, let me know. Share your Sid experiences, share your Sid builds, share what's going on here. I'm just starting to build mine. He'll get stronger over the next few days. And then I'm also going to start working on Alifa, because I'm about 1 character short right now from being able to solo the dungeon. Plus Leafa's a bonus unit, as you see my Leafa right there. Eventually I'll do one of those videos on her as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care, good luck on your Sid farming, and have yourselves a great day. Peace. Oh, should I do my self-promotion? Y'all know who I am, so see you later.